The 2025-26 UEFA Champions League campaign is shaping up to be the greatest we've ever seen. PapaPincus here with 442. Let's talk about it. The UEFA Champions League has long stood as the pinnacle of club football, from Real Madrid's dynasties to Liverpool's Istanbul miracle, Barcelona's tiki-taka dominance. The competition has quite simply never lacked drama. But as the 25-26 campaign kicks off, there's a strong case to be made that this season might be the most exciting edition yet. At the heart of this belief is the evolution of the tournament's format. UEFA's shift from the familiar 8-group model to a 36-team Swiss-style league phase has reshaped the rhythm and scale of the competition. This year will be only the second season under the new rules, but already the sense of unpredictability, depth and drama is unlike anything the Champions League has offered before. When UEFA announced changes to the Champions League, many fans, including myself, pundits, players, managers, were sceptical. But the early returns last season suggest this structure is a net positive for the competition. Here's why. Every match matters more. In the old format, barring the rare upsets, United in 2012, Chelsea in 2013, for example, super clubs used to coast through their groups, playing their B team in the last 2 to 3 games. The stadiums were empty, they were basically dead rubbers. Now, with a bigger table and a tougher, more intense qualification path to the last 16, there's little to no room for complacency. Even finishing 9th instead of 8th means a team has to navigate a 2-legged playoff to survive. That marginal difference could shape a club's season, and I love it. Look at last season. PSG were 3 points off crashing out the competition. They went on to win the whole thing. The margins are so tight. Big clubs play big clubs, guaranteed. I think one of the biggest frustrations of the old group stage model was how often Europe's super clubs were kept apart until the spring. For the majority of autumn, we would watch heavyweights breeze past the smaller clubs. We had to wait months for the blockbuster showdowns. But game week 1, look, we've got Bayern versus Chelsea, Liverpool versus Atletico, Newcastle versus Barca, City versus Napoli, Juve versus Dortmund. It's going off from the get-go. We've got some debutants this year, ladies and gents. 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗥𝗔 have arrived. You know 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗥𝗔, the Norwegian team that have ruined all of your ACCAs in the last few years. But not long ago, they were a small-town club battling to survive. Now, against all odds, they've climbed to Europe's biggest stage. They've stunned giants in the past, beating Mourinho's Roma 6-1, knocking out 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗥𝗔 from the Conference League 5-1 on aggregate. Tottenham, City, Juve, Gala, keep an eye out when you play these lot. They are fearless and they know no boundaries. 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗥𝗔, the first Kazakh club to reach this stage, knocking Celtic out in doing so. I don't know if you guys saw their players' reaction to finding out that they'd be playing at the Emirates. In case you haven't, roll the clip. Beautiful scenes. That is truly what it's all about. Good luck to them. Another debutant that adds a bit of geographical flavour into the mix is Paphos. Oh, imagine Paphos away days in Paphos. They're not a joke, by the way. Beat Maccabi Tel Aviv, Dynamo Kiev, and Red Star Belgrade to get here. Familiar face in the back line as well. David Luiz just signed for them. Random, but I like it a lot. For the neutrals, these names inject unpredictability. Every season needs its Cinderella run, and the format gives these lot a proper opportunity to make a mark. Of course, the Champions League remains defined by its giants, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Milan, Bayern Munich, Liverpool, now Paris Saint-Germain, and this season is no different in that sense, each convinced that Budapest in May could and should be their crowning moment. Madrid, as ever, stand at the centre of the conversation, with Vini Jr. and Mbappe arguably in their prime, Jude Bellingham already the talisman. They look as dangerous as ever, and after last year's whitewash exit to Arsenal, Xabi Alonso's without question seeking a delayed remontada, ready to extend a legacy that already feels untouchable. Liverpool, they probably feel they should be the favourites. Look at the team they've built, for God's sake. Salah, Isak, Ekitike, Van Dijk, Wirtz, and the rest under the bright lights on a Champions League night. How unbelievable does that sound? Would it be a disappointment if they didn't go on to win it? PSG, written off time and time again, mocked for failing when it mattered. But the narrative has shifted. They finally did it last year, lifting the big ears at last. Now the question whether they can defend it, whether the new look French core PSG can go back to back. Again, they probably fancy themselves as favourites. Barcelona. Last season ended in heartbreak. Milan, under the lights at the 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗏, a semi-final for the ages. And Barcelona, they fell short when it mattered most. For a club so desperate to prove it belongs back among the European elite, that night broke them. You could see it in the players' faces, in the silence of the travelling fans. But Barcelona being Barcelona, they don't vanish quietly. The squad is brimming with brilliance. Yamal, Pedri, Rafinha, Cubarsí, mixed with veterans that have seen it all really. That heartbreak in Milan could just as easily serve as the catalyst. Every great Barcelona side has had its trial by fire, and maybe last year was exactly that. And then there's Arsenal. For all their progress under Mikel Arteta, for all the beautiful football and domestic strides, there's still that one shadow that follows them since the club was founded, and that is Europe. The Champions League, even the Europa League, has never been really kind to Arsenal. For years, they were the nearly men of the continental football, the team that collapsed when it mattered most. Copenhagen 2000, Paris 2006, Paris 2025. But now, they've got a chance to do what PSG did, change the narrative in one season. They've got the team to do it, and they've got no excuses. Bayern Munich. What makes Bayern dangerous isn't just their talent, it's the fact that you know what you're getting. City, PSG, even Madrid can implode in a knockout tie. Bayern almost never do. They'll qualify from the league phase, they'll be in the mix when the draw gets serious, and more often than not, they'll be one of the last names standing. A disappointing exit to Inter last season, but the future is now. Kane leading the line, Diaz and Elise on the flanks, Goretzka and Kimmich the anchors. They averaged 2.5 goals a game in the Champions League last season. The firepower is there, and company will fancy his chances. Then you've got Man City, Atletico, Inter, Napoli, Juve. The competition is stacked. One of the joys of every Champions League season is seeing who seizes the spotlight. The competition has a way of turning prospects into global superstars, quite literally overnight. Mbappe at the Etihad, Haaland at Anfield. This season, there are a few names I'm buzzing about. Max 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗏. Yes, you all know his age, he's 15, blah, blah, blah. Astonishingly, he's been included in Arsenal's Champions League squad ahead of Gabriel Jesus, which was a bit of a controversial decision on Mikel Arteta's part. But it just goes to show the belief that he's got in this wonder kid himself. Max 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗏 is not normal. He's got that ultra rare gene that players like Yamal, Palmer, Dean Howson have, where pressure just isn't a thing to him. His brain isn't able to process nerves, and because of that, he's able to step onto the pitch against players twice his age and take the absolute mickey out of them. Former Dortmund striker Youssoufa Moukoko is the all-time youngest appearance maker in this competition at 16 years, 18 days old. But not for long. 𝗘𝗫𝗓𝗏 is coming for that record, and on top of that, I think he could make a real impact in those league phase games, particularly against the smaller sides like Kairat, Club Brugge, Slavia Prague, no disrespect to them. And it allows Saka and even 𝗏𝗏𝗏 to have a little rest as we await the brilliance of this absolute freak. Lamine Yamal. It might be cliche, but how can you not be excited to watch this kid? I mean, week in, week out, he is tearing teams a new one. In my personal opinion, he's the best footballer on planet Earth. This season though, the stage is set. Tactically, he's no longer the surprise weapon, he's the focal point. Defenders will double up on him. Entire game plans will be built around trying to stop this kid. And yet the expectation is that he'll still rise above. That level of pressure would break most players his age, but Yamal isn't most players, and as mentioned before, he has that rare calm, the kind you only see in the very best, where the bigger the occasion, the more it feels like he belongs. I'm calling it early this year. Barcelona win the Champions League, and Lamine Yamal inserts his name as one of the GOATs. Wild card alert, Bruno Guimaraes. Look, now that Isak's gone, Bruno is without question every Geordie's favourite player, isn't he? He's the man, the myth, the heartbeat of Newcastle United. And if Newcastle are to make waves in the Champions League, it will be Bruno who drags them there. You can already picture it. Under the floodlights of St James's Park, 50,000 Geordies going absolutely mental, and Bruno in the middle of all of it, chest out, leading the side like a warrior. Think Gerrard at Anfield, Totti at Roma, Riquelme at Villarreal, players who aren't just superstars, but symbols, inseparable from the identity of their clubs. And Bruno has that same aura for Newcastle. Without Isak's goals to bail them out, Newcastle will lean even more to his ability to control the game from midfield. He'll be the one orchestrating, the one dragging them up the pitch. If he can deliver that consistency in Europe, if he can keep Newcastle punching above their weight, then we're talking about a player carving out a legacy far beyond Tyneside. What a campaign it's shaping up to be. Let us know in the comments below which player you're most excited to watch in this competition. I just can't wait to see your Mal tear it up week in, week out. He really is an absolute joy. Thank you all for watching. Till next time.